Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
I don't know, trade rumors. I don't know how you are on trade rumors, but who the heck is it? Somebody wrote it. Randy from Winnipeg says, trade rumor. Martin Necas for Nikolai Ehlers. I like it. Is that what's floating around the Slurpee capital today?
I feel like that rumor has been going on for years and years and years. Listen, I know that the Jets are interested in Marty Necas. He's a player they have liked for a really long time. I think that there was noise some time ago about Nick Ehlers being on the move. And when I say some time ago, I'm talking years ago. Like, this is one of these rumors that just will not die. And usually when those rumors won't die, it's because teams usually have mutual interest, and you hear those kind of things behind the scenes. They haven't been able to make it work. But Nick Ehlers is a player that, you're thinking more and more with 1 year left on his contract that if they didn't move him, he would be interested in, testing the unrestricted free agent market. And we all know how that turned out for the Jets this year with the vast majority of their unrestricted free agents. And Marty Necas, again, is a guy that I think right from the point that he was drafted and came into the NHL, the Jets scouts were really high on that player. So there's a reason that rumor won't die, but it's, I'll believe it when I see it territory as far as something happening with that trade.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
So my brother worked at the wild animal park. So one time my brother came home and he was just rattled. He was spraying down the monkey cages and the gorilla cages with the water. Gorilla reached through, grabbed my brother by the ears and clunk his head against the bars. And my dad's like, how did you get free? And my brother goes, I took the hose and just sprayed him right in the face. Let my brother go.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
100% true story. No lies in this show. That's a true story, though. Welcome, everybody, to Canada's favorite daytime sports talk show on Game Plus Television, but also on the radio in Atlanta, WQEE. And we're on television in 31 U.S. states on Game Plus and streaming. RP here. No Moose coming up on the program today. CFL great out of Edmonton, Eddie Steele, and the general manager and owner of the Medicine Hat Mavericks of the WCBL, Greg Morrison. No Moose. Let's bring in the sports doctor, Dave Pedersen. And hey, Doc, just sit there and look pretty for a second because we got you for a good time, but not a long time. Director Jordan, can you hit the quick six show horn, please? We're going to jump right into the topic, Dave.
How about that?
And I want yours and the audience's take. Dave, by the way, is in Winnipeg, everybody, but y'all know that. Number one, the big story, Dave, we do it every day. Lionel Messi and Argentina were expected to be in the Copa America semifinals. Alphonso Davies in Canada were not. But here we are. It's game day between the top two Group A sides who each advanced to the Final Four with quarterfinal wins via penalties last week. Canada versus Argentina, aiming to pull off a massive upset tonight in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Uruguay and Colombia play on Wednesday in the other semi. David, I'm going to be watching, but you know what? I've had people of my generation out here in Western Canada saying, hey, you enjoy it, Rod. I'm going to be watching Calgary Stampede on the television. Not everybody's getting into this. Where are you, Dave, on Copa America?
Well, because Canada plays, I'm going to watch. But, soccer is one of those games that's usually on the TV because you've gone into a sports bar at 10 o'clock in the morning and it's still on TSN from CFL football the night before. So, but now more and more people seem to be watching it, especially this one too. And then, anytime that we get a chance to beat our chests a little bit, it's a good thing.
What are you doing in the bar at 10 in the morning, Dave?
Usually trying to find my keys or my jacket or my lost hat.
I got you. Okay, everybody. I guess my point is, well, I'm getting on board, and moving forward, it's not going to be Canada's sport. It'll always be hockey. But not everybody's getting on board, and I found that really interesting. And the Calgary Stampede, hey, I watched a little bit of it, but for me, I'll tune in for Championship Sunday, and I'm good. It moves fast, Dave, so hang on. Everybody, make your birthday celebration unforgettable here at the Golden Ticket Sports Center in Moose Jaw. That's where I'm at. Book your birthday party with us for a fun-filled celebration packed with sports games and endless excitement. Visit GoldenTicketSportsCenter.com. Point two, Dave, you are in Winnipeg, as I mentioned. Yesterday, we had on Eric Engels of Sportsnet Montreal, and he talked about Martin St. Louis and he said that the honeymoon is still on between St. Louis and the Habs fans. And we posted that to our Facebook page, and a good friend of mine, Stefan Lensos, Greek guy, wrote in and said, Rod, is Montreal the highest pressure coaching job in the NHL? And I thought about it for 1.75 seconds. I'm like, no, I think Toronto is. And I'll get into why. But what would you say is the highest pressure head coaching job in the National Hockey League?
The National Hockey League in Canada has to be the Toronto Maple Leafs, because that I think, the rest of Canada has just accepted that the Montreal Canadiens just aren't what they used to be. And most people seem to be okay with that. They get 21,000 people a game, and they just love hockey out there. I think that's probably the most high-pressure job, and I don't really think there's anything that can compare with the Toronto Maple Leafs coaching position in the United States. I don't think it's the same scrutiny any NHL city has that Toronto has for their team.
We could sit, man, and do literally 2 hours on this. When people wonder, how do you talk hockey in the summer or football in the winter? Leave that to me. We'll find a way. But that's our poll question today. What is the highest pressure head coaching job in the NHL? And the options that we came up with, or I came up with, Montreal, Toronto, New York Rangers, or other. Dave, and 68% are saying the Leafs. Everybody agrees with you and me. I voted for Toronto, too. 14% say Montreal, 11% say the New York Rangers, and 7% say other. Now, you're sitting there in Winnipeg, and I thought about Winnipeg. I really did. I thought maybe they would be the third option on the poll, but I'm like, well, we got to have an American city. The New York Rangers are the highest valued team in the NHL. You've probably seen that on the latest Forbes list. I don't think it would be easy in any Canadian city. What do you think it's like for the head coach of the Winnipeg Jets to live his life?
Well, you know what? The team has done a pretty good job with the continuity. Claude Noel, from when they started with Claude Noel, Paul Maurice. Then they had the little blip for a little while until they found the last head coach just stepped down, which I can't even remember now.
Rick Bowness?
It's early. Rick Bowness. And now to Scott Arniel. I think they've done a continuity job keeping things in the organization, other than, obviously, Rick Bowness, everybody loved. And everybody just understand it was time for him to step away because, he was essentially retired when he took it. And Scott Arniel, for all intents and purposes, has been groomed for that position. But Toronto, every single season, every single September, and the puck drop in October, is every member of the Leafs Nation think it's their year. I don't think that that's that big of a deal in any other city. Perhaps maybe Edmonton. They did a nice job switching to Knobloch at the beginning of last season, but I don't think it's that same kind of scrutiny and pressure and social media madness that Toronto Maple Leafs give their head coaches.
I know. Well, I'll tell you what. So dipping into the comments here, Carlos in Indianapolis says, aren't the Maple Leafs the Dallas Cowboys of the NHL? Yeah, they are. They are. But what does that mean? I don't think being the coach of the Dallas Cowboys would be any picnic either. John Ohm says the center of the universe, Toronto, is the most microscopic landscape in the National Hockey League. BW in Edmonton says Montreal is stressful because it's in both official languages of stress. John Ohm goes on to say, I won't be stampeding to watch the soccer. So, hey, I guess I'm in not the minority. I'm interested to see what the television ratings will be tonight. Calgary Stampede versus Canada versus Argentina, Copa semifinal. Just to wind this up on this before we move on, the guided.
I was going to say that's a very interesting point because we don't get half of the complaining, I guess, about Montreal because half of it is in French. So maybe if you combined it all, maybe that does seem maybe there's a bigger spotlight. Only we just don't see it because of most of the passion from that club comes in French.
I'm going to delve into this more next segment. Dave's only with us with one segment right off the top. It's just me in the next segment, and then Eddie Steele. There's no Moose today. He's busy in Toronto. Maybe he's applying for a Leafs assistant coaching job. I don't know. But everybody just hold on to your bingo cards because we'll come back to the viewers' comments in a second. Moving on. Dave is a football guy first, and I've got point 3, CFL notes. As we sit here today, David, there are a few. Drew Brown, the quarterback for Ottawa, I saw on Twitter this morning, Dave Naylor saying he was concussed the other night. People are asking me what I thought of the hit, and I'm like, I was broadcasting baseball that night. I didn't see the hit. Now, I haven't seen a replay, number one. Number two, we'll look ahead to week 6. You and me here. And initial thoughts, but I'm assuming you were at the game. Was the hit on Drew Brown dirty?
I didn't think so. And, when you see a hit that's violent, maybe not dirty, or dirty, you get that audible gasp from the crowd, and that just didn't seem to be in that category. It just seemed to be he just got hit in the head by an arm. It didn't look like there was malice intent. When Zach Collaros got maimed in Calgary by that 350-pound defensive player, that probably was more of a oof than anybody when that guy just came through, and you knew the old lineman just kind of stepped aside when that guy's coming through. But you didn't get that, so we don't think. I'm wearing blue goggles. I didn't think it was a dirty hit. It's unfortunate. I think those things happen, but I don't think there was intent, and I don't think it was, like you said, classified as dirty.
Again, you're football first, and I very much respect your football knowledge. You know that. I read somewhere somebody said the quarterback play this year in the CFL has been higher than it's been in a long time. How would you respond to that statement?
You look at, what's been going on, and guys stepping up, backups stepping up. Guys have just rose into the spotlight. Ottawa's 2-2. Nobody could really expect that. Saskatchewan with the number 1 guy out, still going undefeated. We're looking at what Montreal's doing, and they're beating guys left and right. You look at some of the dim spots, and Winnipeg is included in that. But Bo Levi Mitchell is not what he's cracked up to be, and Eskimos are still 0-4. So I think that the guys that have been given an opportunity have really shined in the spotlight. But I don't know. It just seems that this so far in the season, that doesn't seem to be standing out to me.
Well, since I have you here, now would be the time to ask, were you ever worried at 0-4 for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers that the good times were over, or that it was a blip?
Yeah, it's funny because, things can change on such a dime like that, like sometimes in football. And, we've seen that. And, all these people, all the whispers that, the Bombers are getting old, and, maybe we should have kept Drew Brown and not gone with Zach Collaros. And what is Chris Streveler going to add to the team? When you hear that, you start to think that way. And then, there was no means last Friday's game at Princess Auto Stadium with Chris Streveler at the helm ever going to be on CFL Classics. But they managed to gut out a victory. From what I understand and what I've read, that Zach Collaros was on the practice field yesterday, and you get a slightly skewed take a little bit from some of the local scribes, but they said that he's looking 100%, which is great. We came within a hair of beating the Calgary Stampeders, who's our opponents this week. So we'll see. I think we're gonna, at the end of the week, we're gonna be 2-4. And the Winnipeg Blue Bombers really didn't have much to worry about.
You got to get the phone, David?
Nope, I'm okay.
Okay, David's only with us for 5 more minutes, everybody. I know. If you just tuned in,
things are ringing and buzzing.
I know. If you just tuned in, Moose isn't with us today. The sports doctor is with us just for the first segment out of Winnipeg. So everybody that's writing in with your comments, you can keep writing them in, but I'll be getting to all of them in the next segment. I did send you, Dave, an RP Show shirt in Winnipeg Blue Bomber colors. Can you please relate to the audience what the comments you've been getting around Winnipeg when you wear it?
And Rod, and we were talking about this off the air and stuff. It's one thing to be on your show, and my circle of friends who tune in, and when we retweet it and we put it out there, they comment, they say great job. But now I'm coming up. I go to the Blue Bomber tailgate party before. This is the first year I've really done that, because for all the other years I kind of bust in right at game time. But the amount of people that come up and talk to me about the Rod Pedersen show is actually staggering. We know that you've said that before, probably a year back, that was one of maybe your third biggest town for an audience was Winnipeg. So that's got to be growing exponentially. And we know that my local cable company added Game Plus Network, and I get it now. For years, I was just always having to watch online or watching the rerun on there on the podcast or on YouTube. But no, we can get it live. We can record it on our PVR, so people are watching. Rod,
I appreciate that, man. And that shirt was a gift from me to you for all you have done for me and all you do for me. That's a great shirt, as you know, Dave, and you look splendid in it. Just a quick one before we get an NFL note. Week 6, these are the games. Thursday, Toronto at Montreal. Friday, Calgary at Winnipeg. Saturday, Sask at BC. And Sunday, Ottawa at Edmonton. Game of the week in your mind is obviously probably the one your team's in, I would think.
100%. It's interesting. You said Saskatchewan and BC, right? That's Saturday?
Yep.
That's the Saturday game. That to me, because those are two, I'm wearing the blue goggles. My team that's always going to be Friday Night Football, but it's going to be very interesting to see the momentum the Saskatchewan Roughriders can take against the BC Lions. The BC Lions are a strong football club. Saskatchewan has proven to be so much. That to me is probably the game of the week in terms of talent on the field.
I saw, by the way, I'm digging around trying to find my baseball schedule. I'm going to find out if I have a game Saturday. Here's my life now, Dave. I love it. I could just look. You know how it is. Working for a team now. I need my glasses. Wonder if I'll be able. I won't be at the game, but I should be able to watch it. I got an email from USA Today. They do great NFL coverage, and they said training camps are opening in less than 10 days. And the first preseason game is August 1st. Texans, Bears in Canton. You're a Viking season ticket holder. I'm guessing you're optimistic about the Vikes in 2024?
Going to be a much, much different team with moving on from Kirk Cousins. So I'm optimistic every year. I mean, I think that the ownership group has really done a tremendous job letting the coaching and the general manager do their jobs. The team, even though has not gone on to much success in the postseason over the last few years, but they're definitely not out of it. They're not a pushover. They're not like Detroit Lions from 15 years ago. So I am optimistic. I'm looking forward to the home opener against the San Francisco 49ers in September.
Your quarterback in week 1 will be blank.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be JJ to JJ. I think that's. I think they're gonna start the rookie.
I like it. But you know what? That's the biggest story in their training camp, I believe, and a real fun one to follow. David, you got us going, man. You pushed us off the shore, and now we're paddling on our own for the show, man. Enjoy it. Thanks for the time, David. All the best to Winnipeg.
Thanks, Rod.
The sports doctor, Dave Pedersen. Give him a follow on Twitter at The Sports Doctor. So it's just me and you in the next segment. Eddie Steele later on in hour 1. We'll be right back. We're broadcasting live on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Live, and Spotify.
All capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
The 80s Club, live in Moose Jaw. Honeymoon Suite, along with a flock of seagulls. Men without hats. And spoons. All together for one night at Moose Jaw Event Center, Saturday, November 16th. Tickets on sale now at sastix.ca or the Moose Jaw Event Center box office.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hey, honey, can you get one of the kids to show me how this Twitter thing works? Honey, I need to get on Instagram. Time for more of the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hi, everybody. We back. It's just me and you, as I said. I think we can handle that just fine. And I'm going to tell you something. I'm really excited for July 19th, and I'll tell you why in a second. You're going to want to reward your love for movies ahead of that by signing up for Landmark Extras for free today. It's a rewards program. Get more what you love. Free movies, concession items, invites to exclusive screenings, special events, and more. There are 3 programs to choose from. Just go to landmarkcinemas.com for details. It's right top link at the top of the page. Twisters is coming out July 19th, my mom's birthday, and I saw the preview for it when I went to Bad Boys at Landmark Cinemas. I'm like, oh, yeah, I got to watch this. But I couldn't tell if it was a remake of the 1996 Twister blockbuster, and it's just kind of part 2 of that. But it kind of looks the same, which is great. Clark, you went to Despicable Me 4 the other day. What are you getting? 1 thumb up, 2 thumbs up, no thumbs up? What's your review, Clark? 1.5 thumbs up from Clark, producer Clark, for Despicable Me 4. I got to take your word for it. I won't be going. But Twisters is the movie. It's the movie, July 19th. So as we continue, and we'll get to our poll questions and the discussion that it spawned, to be honest, I thought there would be more of a debate than there is. It's our poll question: what's the highest pressure coaching job in the NHL? And the options were Toronto, Montreal, New York Rangers, or other, and just running away with it, it's the Leafs. So like, are we declaring a winner? Because 1 out of 11 polls is reporting, but Toronto's running away with it. And we got to examine as to why. But anyways, there are other sports going on. I'll continue in the quick 6 show topics and then loop back. The Blue Jays open a 3-game series in San Francisco tonight with lefty Yusei Kikuchi on the mound for the 41-49 Blue Jays. Lefty Blake Snell will start for the Giants. They got 44 wins against 47 losses. The Jays are coming off a weekend series win against the Seattle Mariners, taking 2-3 at T-Mobile Park. So the Blue Jays are obviously out of it. We're waiting for people to be fired. I've turned my attention to the WCBL, and today's the day that we do the Western Canadian Baseball League Roundup. Greg Morrison will be with us an hour or two. Interesting guy, general manager, owner of the Medicine Hat Mavericks, played for a long time in the Blue Jays organization. You can look him up. He is a sports kinesiologist, sports doctor, and owns the baseball team. So he's my kind of guy. I'm looking forward to chatting with him an hour, too. Speaking of my kind of guy, here comes Austin Gurney of your Moose Jaw Millers. Been named an All-Star yet, Austin? You did? Congratulations, man.
How about that?
I didn't know that. I literally didn't know. When'd you find out? Okay, congratulations. Number 39 of your Moose Jaw Millers leads the team in home runs. Moving on. Oh, tonight, that's where I was talking about the WCBL. Tonight, Regina at the Weyburn Beavers, Saskatoon at Fort McMurray, Swift Current at Medicine Hat, Sylvan Lake at Lethbridge, and Okotoks at Brooks. Get out and it's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day. It'll be a beautiful evening. And believe it or not, I do read the news. I don't tell anybody. But I saw that there was this blistering heat wave coming across the Canadian prairies caused by climate change, said the one environmentalist, which I'm sure that it is. And I was talking to Serena the other day, my better half, well, last night, and there's a heat warning. Record temperatures in South Florida, 112 degrees Fahrenheit. I told her that they were worried here about the heat. She laughed. It ain't the same. But she's like, hey, you enjoy yourself up there. I came up here for the weather, and the baseball was an added bonus. It's been awesome. So moving on to this. Trust me, I will get to your comments. 902-518-3033. If you've just tuned us in, what we've covered is Canada versus Argentina tonight. Will you be watching? I'm actually surprised at the amount of people that say they won't be. What's the highest pressure NHL coaching job? A lot of CFL notes with the sports doctor who was with us and a little on the NFL, believe it or not. And then we just covered the Blue Jays. All this in 25 minutes time. Point 5, Toronto Raptors president Masai Ujiri guarantees he'll build a championship team in Toronto again. Ujiri and the Raptors locked up 2 key pieces of the young core they hope will be part of it, signing Scotty Barnes and Emmanuel quickly to extensions for at least the next 3 seasons. Ujiri hopes the Raptors can bounce back from last season's 25-win campaign, saying, quote, that's not what this team, these fans, and this city deserve. Well, I'll tell you what. I am not a basketball aficionado by any means, but I do follow it, and I went to the games in Miami. The Raptors played the last 2 games of the regular season there before packing it in. And I'll tell you what, they better fix that culture before it gets any worse. And I understand. It was the last 2 games of a season that they knew they weren't going to make the playoffs. They checked out at the Casilla Center. And I'm sitting there going, I bought my tickets. I'm here cheering for the Raptors. I'd kind of like you to try. And they didn't. It was bad. Just the body language was bad. I'm not going to judge my thoughts on where the Raptors are as an organization by 2 mail-it-in games in Miami, but I didn't like what I saw. And to be honest, this was going to be the poll question this morning. Do you think the Raptors can win another NBA title as the president has guaranteed? He guaranteed it. Yesterday at his media availability, talking about signing Quickly and Barnes. So if that's a secondary poll, my vote on that would be no. I don't think they can win another championship just because it's so hard to do, which is a perfect segue back into the hardest head coaching, highest pressure job in the National Hockey League. How come they can win one in the NBA in Toronto, but they can't win an NHL one in Toronto? Think about it. It's, I think, all about pressure. Because the Raptors are dealing with the Canadian dollar versus the U.S. dollar, players that don't really want to be there. I'm sorry, but it's true. I know you don't want to hear that, Toronto, but it's a fact. The Blue Jays go through it all the time, and the Raptors go through. Kawhi Leonard didn't want to be there. None of them wanted to be there. Vince Carter wanted to be there until he didn't. They're battling a lot of things in Toronto as an NBA franchise, and for that matter, an MLB franchise. And they've won championships, the Blue Jays and the Raptors. Morning, Jacob. How are you? Good. Jacob Castaneda. Castaneda or Castaneda? I thought so. First name basis with all the Moose Jaw Millers. We're tight. So why is it the Leafs? Why is it the Leafs can't win an NHL championship, a Stanley Cup, yet the Blue Jays and the Raptors can, and they're in the same city? So I think now would be a good time to turn this over to you, the viewers, because we've really stepped into it, haven't we? Ryan in upstate New York writes in, and he says, we're also under a heat advisory in Saratoga, New York. Seems like the entire eastern seaboard is under one today. It's funny, my buddy Chris from the Bronx, he's in Albany right now, Ryan, in your neck of the woods. He's telling me how hot it was on the golf course the other day. He's a Florida friend of mine. He got out of Florida just like I did for the summer, and he's like, it's hot here in Albany. This is funny. Randy from Winnipeg writes in and says, a heat wave in July. Who would have thought? No, I know, right? That's the one thing that I know, but that's the thing that really annoys me about Canadian winters when everybody's screenshotting the minus 52. Why are you caught off guard every single winter that it's beyond mind-numbingly cold? Because you knew that was in the summer now. This is the difference. It's setting record temperatures for heat. And that's a little scary. I wanted no part of being in South Florida, and that's the great thing about Serena. She's like, you want to go to Canada? Go. It doesn't bother her that much, but it bothers me a lot. And she goes, you're never going to get used to the Florida heat if you keep running back to Canada every summer. Yeah, I know, and I'm okay with that. Tony from George Fox Country. That's Cochrane, Alberta. He says the heat wave is in the Blue Jays dugout. Well, not yet. Nobody's been fired yet, but I get what you're saying. Don, Navy Don, checking in from Ottawa. He says, I'll be viewing the game tonight between Argentina and Canada. The rodeo is on all week. Put aside your biases and enjoy this ride the Canuck team is on. Latin players love to flop like a gutted fish, but whatever. Ooh, that doesn't sound very inclusive. Can we say that, Clark? Can he say that? That they like to flop? I guess we'll find out tonight. Where I was going with this tonight was I saw one of the kickers in the CFL. Was it Sergio Casillo or Mark Leggio? One of those guys said, where's a watch party tonight in our city, or a watch party Tuesday night for the semifinal between Canada and Argentina? And people responded. People are getting into it. I don't see watch parties gathering to watch the Calgary Stampede, at least not on a Tuesday night. Championship Sunday is a whole other thing. Jeremy from Winnipeg writes in with regards to the most high-pressure job in the NHL for coaching. Jeremy says it's franchise-driven and media-driven. It really shouldn't be that hard. It's what they created. Yeah. That's the discussion that I wanted to spawn. And I don't know if I said this to the sports doctor or not. I was thinking it. The guy that you want to ask about that is probably Paul Maurice, because he's coached the Leafs. He's coached in Winnipeg, coached Carolina, now Florida. Because if you want to look at it the other way, where's the least pressure job? It's not that hard to figure out. Florida would be top 3 for least pressure. And then the other would be Arizona. You've all heard my stories about my friend Gary Drummond owning the Coyotes for 5 years. And I was down there all the time. And those coaches could go anywhere in Arizona and nobody knew who they were. They didn't care. They also never won. So that's a difference with Florida with Paul Maurice. He won a Stanley Cup. But in Toronto, here's why I don't think it's Montreal, by the way. The city's half the size of Toronto. And I think the people of Montreal, like my really good friends that are born and bred Montrealers, they know the game. They know the game. David Ogilvy, Bob Merrier. I can name them for you if you want. They know the game. Pretty much all the Montrealers. So they're off Martin St. Louis' ass because they knew he took over it. Not a good situation. Not a train wreck, but they had just come out of the Stanley Cup final. He's a local kid, local boy, which they love, and they know the game. I think in Toronto, while there are those that know the game, producer Clark knows the game, Darren DuPont knows the game, some of the media knows the game, but a hell of a lot of them don't. And a lot of the fans do not. I think that's not like Montreal. And when you're having to answer to these people that don't even know, I think that would be very difficult. And to be honest, I think if Mike Babcock can't be successful there, nobody can. Because just so you know, there are still people that do support Mike Babcock. They don't stand up for fear of being canceled themselves, but they do support him. I was talking to a guy last week that was a former assistant coach of Mike Babcock's, face-to-face, just like this. As I'm looking at you right now, and he's like, yeah, Babs and I don't talk. And I'm sure you don't. We all have a trail of those in our life. Doesn't make him a bad guy or me a bad guy or you a bad guy. You just don't see eye to eye, so you move on. It's the way it is. And I'll say it again, if Mike Babcock can be successful there, I don't think anybody can. But good luck to Craig Berube. We're going to Edmonton next. My good guy, Eddie Steele, joins us, and I think he wants to argue, which I'm up for, Eddie. Trust me, I am. A little CFL, maybe some NHL. We're live here on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Live, and Spotify.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the City of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
Now the race is on and here comes pride in the backstretch.
Celebrate 40 years of Sawyer Brown.
Some girls don't like boys like me.
With Shenandoah.
You got to get me to the church on the Cumberland Road.
Plus special guest George Fox. Saturday, October 26th, Moose Jaw Event Center.
I'll take the dirt road.
Tickets are on sale now at the Moose Jaw Event Center box office or online at sasktix.ca.
6 days on the road and I'm
Sawyer Brown and Shenandoah live.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Send us your opinions now. We won't victimize you unless you really deserve it. Now, back to your host, Rod Pedersen.
You should know by now, the RP Show is brought to you daily by the Saskatchewan Rattlers professional basketball team. They play out of SaskTel Center, offering the best entertainment for all of Saskatchewan sports fans. Rattlers looking to return to championship weekend in August. They're home Thursday night to the Winnipeg Sea Bears. Get your tickets now at Ticketmaster.ca or head on down to the Rattlers front office in downtown Saskatoon. Calgary Surge is in Edmonton tonight, taking on the Stingers, by the way, at the Expo Center. Let's please bring in Eddie Steele, radio star, Grey Cup champion, and looks like he just came back from the gym. What's up, Eddie?
How you doing, RP? Good to see you, man.
I'm always having a great day. You know that. You know me long time. Although apparently you took issue with my kudos that I gave the CFL for their CFL summer schedule, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday games. A little birdie told me you didn't like my thoughts on that.
I like the thoughts. No. I'm totally in agreement with you. Actually, in fact, my co-host, Mr. Kevin Carius, our mutual buddy, he doesn't agree with us, and he thinks that there should be double headers on Friday and Saturday, and I thought that's bogus. No way, man. The Thursday through Sunday schedule is the best thing that's happened to me as a CFL consumer and a fan.
Okay, well, listen. Kevin Carius doesn't know anything about television. That's why he's in radio, number one. Number two, he said that you sent him my meme, so I think he was inferring that you didn't agree with it. I mean, let's be honest, Eddie, so let's get down to it. We're going into week 6 then. You've been watching all the games just like I have. Elks aside, what are your top stories through 5 weeks?
Oh, yes, actually. And yes, before we bury it, no, I sent him the picture. I took a screenshot. I sent him a picture to jab it in him to be like, look, there's me and your boy are on the same page. You're in the wrong here, KK. But in terms of the league overall, got to be Winnipeg is one. And they won a game, but just the way they've looked, the regression, the age. So that's one. Montreal, of course, got to give them their flowers. They're playing some really good football. Wasn't expecting them to come out and play as strong as they have, but they haven't missed a stride, and that's pretty cool to see. And then the third, probably, if I want to round it out with 3, would be the Corey Mace effect in Saskatchewan and just how they're playing. Starting quarterbacks down, but they're still winning games, figuring out how to get the job done, playing some dirty kind of football, and it's not all clean. It's gritty, and they're ugly wins, but they're winning, and that's all that matters. So those would be my top 3 storylines, probably.
Yeah, what's nice is there's even more than that. There always are. That's why we love the Canadian football league.
BC.
Okay, well, let's talk about it. I got my guys telling me that it's going to be ugly in BC play Saturday, that BC is going to tear apart Sask. What do you think?
Well, that's the game of the week. Absolutely. That's in BC, hey?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's going to be a track meet. I don't know if Shea Pedersen will have his track shoes ready for that one, and I'll leave it at that.
Well, it won't just be up to him. I mean, what about those that say Sask hasn't played anybody yet? Because you do hear that. You also know you can only beat who's in front of you.
Absolutely, you can, and that's true. You can only beat who's in front of you, but they're winning games. It doesn't matter. I don't care who you play. You're winning games. Your record is what the record is. But it will be up to the Riders' offense because BC has a very, very explosive offense, and just knowing it firsthand, having played there, you having called games there, when that BC offense gets rolling, and it's almost like a momentum that you can feel inside that BC place. And even though it's not a sold-out barn, you can feel that momentum. It's like a track meet inside on that fast turf. So I'm curious to see if Saskatchewan's offense will be able to match BC's offense, because BC is going to put up at least 35 points.
Well, what the learned football fans are saying, and there are a lot of those across this country, is that now the schedule gets hard for Sask. So say what you will about their 4-0 start, but now it gets hard. So I don't know if you watched the Toronto-Sask game last week, but that defense under Corey Mace just completely befuddled Cameron Dukes, made him look like he was the one making his first career start. I don't know that they'll be able to confuse VA, but it's a very good defense. It is.
It is a good defense. They're a well-rounded team. I like what they're doing over there in Sask, and it starts at the top. Some of the management people in place in management still don't totally think that they have the ultimate grand vision in place. But hey, they got it right with Corey Mace, and they really hit the nail on the head, and he is producing. It's cool to see a former player, let alone a former defensive tackle, become a head coach and work his way up the ranks from being a defensive line coach to a D coordinator to now the head man, and having great success with it at a young age, under 40. And he's so relatable to the players. And I think that is one of the great reasons he's having the success he's having, is because A, he's been there, done that, and B, he understands the players' young mindset and how to relate to these fellas.
Similar to what Dinwiddie's done in Toronto. Whether that continues or not, I don't know. Do you have a take? I mean, you're close or closer to the league than I am on Dinwiddie saying when Chad Kelly's back, he's playing, based on all that's gone on. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, pro sports, there's been a lot of people playing pro sports who've done worse than what Chad Kelly have done. Rest assured. The thing I tell people always about pro sports, and my opinion is this, the business is the business. Morally, I don't have to agree or like or be on any same page as anybody else in terms of what the guy did. But when it comes to pro sports, if you're good and if you win games, people will forget whatever you've done. You could be the biggest POS trash human being out there. If you're a winner and you're successful and good, people will forget it, and people will pay to watch you throw football or throw touchdown passes.
For sure, and that's probably how the Argo fans are looking at it. I'm not sure the rest of the CFL's looking at it that way, nor the commissioner, but I guess we'll see. There's a reason they have suspensions. You serve your penance and you move on, and I wonder if everybody's going to be able to do that. And lastly, we could spend days talking about this, but in a couple of minutes, what do you think it's going to take to return the Edmonton Elks to even some semblance of respectability, let alone prominence?
You know what? I talk about this on the radio show every week. I talk about it with customers that I see. I travel from Lloydminster to Jasper, up north Alberta to south of Calgary. I'm all across the province, and I have these conversations every day, Rod. And I tell people there's a lot. There's management, the name change, there's so much, right? But at the end of the day, just like I said about Chad Kelly, you win football games. You win football games and people will show up. Nothing else matters in pro sports but winning games. Rod, let me ask you a question. When have you seen a winning, successful organization not have fans at the stadium? It's all about winning.
Doesn't happen.
You win and people will come.
Doesn't happen.
You win and people will come. I don't care about the name. If you're the Elks and you're winning football games, people will come. Nothing else matters. Commonwealth, the old stadium, the old the concourse where people are walking through, none of that will matter if you're winning football games. I've never seen a Grey Cup winner with a playoff game where people aren't there. You win and people will be there.
Dude, look at the Patriots. There's a lot of guys that were accused of some pretty nasty things. One was a murderer. The other one, the owner, we won't talk. That place was full. People didn't care.
Tom Brady openly, in his roast, openly admitted they were cheating. The Deflategate, yes, it's all about winning. And sometimes you are going to bend the rules to win. And that's all you are there in pro sports to do, is win. You're not there to do anything but win. That's it, flat out.
And you only owe it to yourselves and your fans and not to anybody else. So I'm with you on that, Eddie. That's why you and I normally agree 97% of the time.
Ooh,
okay, man.
Well
you go have a great day. Thanks, Eddie. Eddie Steele. Hopefully he can afford to put a shirt on before he leaves the room.
How about that?
We'll be back with a sports update and whatever else comes your way. In hour 2, it's going to be all of just you and me. So get your questions and comments ready. And Greg Morrison from the Medicine Hat Mavericks on our weekly WCBL Roundup. We'll be right back here on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Live, and Spotify.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Did you know you can catch all the best moments from the show on all our social media platforms? Now, back to the studio with Rod.
Yeah, the studio is the Golden Ticket Sports Center here in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. Yes, I'm loving it as much as I say. People are... I had supper with some people last night that you can't love it as much as you're saying. Yes, I am. I'm not in that 112 Florida humidity. This here is a walk in the park. This is the perfect climate right now. This is Florida in January, what we're getting here in Moose Jaw. And I'm loving the Millers and the baseball, and it's great. Trust me. From the audience, Bomber Boy writes in from Calgary, and he says, I love the Eddie Steele takes about the CFL. Wayne in BC says, Eddie Steele is great, but yeah, Eddie, put on a shirt when you're on the RP show. He didn't show us respect. Navy Dawn in Ottawa writes, and he says, hope your place in Florida is made of non-combustible materials. Damn, that's hot. No, they all got it figured out. Apparently, there was a lot of things went on in Florida before I got there. One was how to deal with the heat with vehicles and roofs and that kind of thing. We're good. Sports update. The final Battle of Alberta installment of the season could go a long way to determine Calgary and Edmonton's playoff fates in the Canadian Elite Basketball League. The Stingers host the Surge tonight at Edmonton Expo Center. Broadcast coverage is available on TSN. As the Stingers battle for the top seed in the Western Conference, they can officially punch their ticket to the playoffs with a win over the fourth-place Surge, who are vying to fend off Saskatchewan for the final postseason berth. So it's Surge at Stingers in Edmonton tonight. TSN has it. Meanwhile, the top two teams in the Eastern Conference of the CEBL will be meeting tonight as the Scarborough Shooting Stars host the Niagara River Lions in the Canadian Elite Basketball League's 400th ever game. How about that? Tip-off is at 8 p.m. Eastern at Toronto's Pan Am Sports Center, with live coverage available on CEBL. It is the Scarborough Shooting Stars, home to the Niagara River Lions. So yeah, we're big fans of the Canadian Elite Basketball League. That's the one thing that I have yet to figure out. People want to say they're so patriotic, yet they don't really support these Canadian leagues. I don't get it. Oh, and by the way, I was mentioning tonight's WCBL slate, Brooks home to Okotoks. I just saw it's Toonie Tuesday night in Brooks. I'm guessing that means you can get in for a toonie. Must be. At Elks Field as they welcome their rival Okotoks Dogs. So, yeah, we're big fans of the WCBL here and the Canadian Elite Basketball League. By the way, the sports update is for Landmark Cinemas. In Landmark Cinemas, July 19th, Twisters. I talked about this earlier. I can't wait. This summer, the epic studio disaster movie returns with an adrenaline-pumping, seat-gripping, big screen thrill ride that puts you in direct contact with one of nature's most wondrous and destructive forces. From the producers of the Jurassic and Indiana Jones series comes Twisters, a current-day chapter of the 1996 blockbuster Twister in Landmark Cinemas, July 19th. I remember 1996, sitting in that theater with Twister. It was good then. Imagine what it's like now with all the advancements in cinematography. We'll see you there July 19th. And after. Also brought to you by the Common Crown Brewing Company out of Calgary. They have the perfect craft beer for your enjoyment, featuring their Core 5, Good Company Hazy Pale Ale, Common Crown Crafted Lager, Journeyman IPA, Brewmaster Blonde Ale, and Coppersmith Brown Ale, 4 of which sit below 5% ABV, making them the ideal beer for your everyday common affair. So this is it, okay, everybody? Get your questions and comments ready. I want your takes on everything coming up after this break here on Game Plus and Key Radio.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. BD G. Always delivering the best fan experience.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
So my brother worked at the wild animal park. So one time my brother came home and he was just rattled. He was spraying down the monkey cages and the gorilla cages with the water. Gorilla reached through, grabbed my brother by the ears and clunk his head against the bars. And my dad's like, "How did you get free?" And my brother goes, "I took the hose and just sprayed him right in the face." Let my brother go.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hey, start spreading the news, everybody. It's hour 2 of the RP show. It's just me and you. There's no moves. He's telling us that he is in a meeting in downtown Toronto and not available. I don't know whether to believe him or not, but what I do know is he's not here. So as I said, it's just going to be me and you, the viewers, for a lot of this hour. The guest that we have coming up in the third segment today, the interview segment this hour, is Greg Morrison, and I'm very much looking forward to that chat. He's the general manager and owner of the WCBL's Medicine Hat Mavericks. He played in the Blue Jays organization for quite a while. You can look it up. He graduated, I think, from the U of C with University of Calgary in the kinesiology department. He's a sports doctor. Runs that team, owns it. He's got a lot of things going on. Greg Morrison seems like my kind of guy, and he's coming up later on this hour. So, again, this is the thing where a lot of times people write into this show, and I'm dismissive of a lot of their comments because I keep it between Moose and I with what we're talking about. He ain't here today. So if you have just tuned us in and you missed all of hour 1, here's the update of what we've been talking about. Number 1, Canada versus Argentina tonight. It is, to be honest, 40 years ago, a game that I would have zero interest in, but it's 2024, and it's a different time, and it's Lionel Messi, the most popular, #1 soccer player in the world for Argentina, versus Canada, and I'm saying I'm getting with it. I've talked about it on this program over the past few weeks. In the 90s, all the children where I lived were playing soccer. It seemed like way more than football, hockey, and baseball combined. Everybody's kid played soccer. And I just knew that that would mean 20, 30 years from now, maybe we would be very good at the game globally, which is what turned out. I didn't really predict that because I didn't really know anything about soccer. But 2, for sure, there'd be millions more fans of soccer across Canada. And that's what's happened. Yet, having said all that, and my commentary today at rodpedersen.com and runs on Sask Radio. You can go read it right now. I said all those things, and one guy wrote in and he goes, "Well, yeah, you can go watch it if you want, but I'm going to be watching the Calgary Stampede." So I found that interesting because there's still a lot of people not getting on board with the soccer train. And that's cool, too. But here's the thing. Rodeo is always going to be on there. And if you've noticed, it's been on every night, and it will be on every night for the next 2 weeks. This is the Copa America, which I know enough Espanol. It's America Cup. Did you know that? Spanish for America's Cup. And it is going to be over right away. And we haven't been very good at soccer for as long as the world's been around. And now we are. So I'm getting on board. Carlos in Indianapolis writes in and says, soccer has been the future for the past 30 years in America. So what you're saying is it's going to be a next big thing, but it's not really? Dude, I'm not going to sit around and watch MLS soccer. It's like the Brier for me. I don't watch the Grand Slams on the weekends. I watch the Season of Champions for curling. I watch the Scotties. I watch the Brier. I don't watch it all year. I'm not sitting here saying I'm going to be Joe's soccer guy. I'm saying I'm going to watch tonight. And as far as the Calgary Stampede goes, I'm sitting there. I'll be honest. I'm looking at everybody's pictures, and it's exhausting me. I mean, God bless Joe Madden and what she's doing there. She's hosting parties. She's at Cowboys. Like thousands and thousands and thousands of people are there partying. That's just not my scene. My brother told me before I went, that same one that was cleaning the gorilla cages, he goes, you're not going to like it. It's too wild. I'm like, well, I got to go try it. He was right. It was too wild. I'm trying to get in with what you guys are talking about. Navy Don in Ottawa writes, and he says, Canadians seem to be the most dismissive when it comes to domestic sport leagues and other cultural entities, but when prostrate ourselves if the Yanks glance our way. It's depressing. Don, don't be using these $20 words. Jeremy in Winnipeg says, with Justin Jefferson signed, why is Jerry Jones taking so long to sign CeeDee Lamb? The numbers are right there. Pay the guy. Sign Micah. Let Dak walk after the season. I'm not there yet with the NFL talk. Now, I understand where you're saying. I said, talk about whatever you want. And we're like 10 days away from training camps opening up in the NFL. I think one thing we've realized is that July is really like the dead spot on the calendar. It really, and especially when the Blue Jays suck. Because we're not quite into NFL training camps. Hockey just ended. This is just for Canada. See, the beautiful thing about America that I've learned is they're not a one-sport country. They're into baseball. They're into basketball. They're into football. They're into everything year-round. For us, in Canada, it's mostly just hockey, which reminds me back to, I guess I started on Canada versus Argentina. It's quite interesting that people were writing me saying, thanks for the soccer coverage on your show. And I'm like, we weren't covering it, but we were talking about it. I guess that's all they want. How about that? Point two.
How about that?
It came about, what's the highest pressure head coaching job in the National Hockey League? And to be honest, I was hoping to have a larger debate on this, and it has ended up not being a debate at all. Why did that come up? Because yesterday, Eric Engels was on with us from Sportsnet Montreal, which was nice of him to join us from wherever his lake property is. He looked very chill in the setting in Montreal. And he said that the honeymoon stage is still on for Martin St. Louis and the Canadiens. And I thought, how long is that going to last? They haven't made the playoffs under his watch. Like, let's get real here. But he's a local guy, and they love him, and the players love him. And I'm not saying the honeymoon should be over. I'm saying how long does it last? So we made a meme out of it. They're very popular. We put them on our Facebook page and our social media and let people comment on them 24 hours a day. It's great. And a gentleman wrote in by the name of Stefan Lentzos. He's a Greek friend of mine, Habs fan, and said, hey, Rod, do you think Montreal is the highest pressured head coaching job in the NHL? And right away, I'm like, no. It's Toronto. And I'm going to recap what my thoughts were from hour one. Sorry if you're hearing it for a second time, but there's a lot of people hearing it for the first. In Montreal, I think way more higher percentage of the fan base and media for sure knows the game of hockey than Toronto. Don't get mad at me because I know that I'm right. They know in Montreal. They know Martin St. Louis is not coaching. He's coaching probably the youngest team in the NHL. He took over not a good situation. They have not been able to replace Carey Price, and they may never replace Carey Price. I'm just saying in Montreal, they get it. In Toronto, while there are people that know the game, I'm not sitting here saying nobody in Leaf Nation knows the game. There's a lot that don't. And I sit and see the things that's said in the media there, and I'm like, this is just wrong. Kipper, why do you think those guys are so popular? Kipper, no, he gets it. Justin Bourne gets it. Elliot Friedman gets it. I'm not talking about them, but a lot of the media are goofs, and they manufacture storylines to, trust me, I get it, get the clicks, get the eyeballs, get the headlines, and it causes problems for the team. And it dovetails into Masai Ujiri, the president of the Raptors, saying yesterday, guaranteeing they'll win another NBA championship before he's done there. And Dag Nabbit, you almost think that he's right. He's already done it once. So he's proven that he knows what he's doing. But why was it relatively easy for Masai Ujiri? I mean, it wasn't easy, but the Leafs coach can't get anywhere near the Stanley Cup, but the Raptors coach can win? In the same arena? It's clearly not something in the walls, so it's something else. And then with the Blue Jays, they've won their 2 World Series, and not same thing. I think that they can kind of go about their trade there in relative obscurity, and there's something to be said for that. So our poll question is, what's the highest pressure coaching job of the NHL? Toronto, Montreal, New York Rangers, or other? It wasn't even close. It was an avalanche right out of the gate. 68% saying Toronto, and then the rest split amongst the others. And I think it's worthwhile to sit here and go, why is that? Why has it become that? Because if that's hampering their success, is that fixable? And, you know, we're sitting here as Canada's daytime sports talk show. I look at it this way. There was probably a lot of people in Winnipeg that thought for years the Blue Bombers were never going to win a Grey Cup when that drought stretched 30 years. And it took Kyle Walter, well, it took Wade Miller coming in, the president, and then Kyle Walters, the general manager, and then Mike O'Shea, and then Zach Collaros to clean that all up. And the one thing that I've never forgotten, because you remember, you Winnipeggers, that's probably why our viewership is so high in Winnipeg, because you people remember when I was on TSN 1190 so much, or whatever the hell it was. Was that 1190? I think it was. With Hustler and Westwood. And I remember Troy Westwood, near the end of that 30-year drought, telling the fans of Winnipeg to back off and stop blaming the current Blue Bombers for the sins of the past 30 years. And I was like, he's right. I can't remember who the players were at that time. It was before Zach. Let's say Matt Nichols or whoever. Wasn't their fault that the team couldn't get out of its own way in the 90s and the 2000s and the 2010s. It wasn't their fault. Just see what I'm saying? Somebody needs to come in and clean up the culture in Toronto, and I'm not sure that it's fixable there. The CFL is a different story. It would take a hell of a lot longer. But there's big problems in Toronto, and I look at my guy Ken Karashuk. It's 11:11 Mountain, by the way, 1:11 Eastern. We still stop and point that out. And apparently, so do our viewers. Squirrel moment. What was I saying, Clark? I was on that monologue there. He wasn't paying attention. It's all good. To the audience. With regards to prostating ourselves, sounds painful. Don, Navy Don says prostate. Definition, lay down in front of the king. That's what that means? John Ohm says, let's talk about soccer. Let's talk about soccer, wild and free. We've talked about it enough. Jeremy in Winnipeg says, it's hard to get dialed in with other sports. No matter the months, NFL, CFL, NHL, college football can always be talked about. So much coverage during the season and off-season. It's very hard for the other leagues, the Canadian Elite Basketball League and the WCBL, to get up, for sure. You'll never know, I don't think, the players become stars. You got to go to the games and go from there and enjoy it. At least the tickets are cheap, and you can take your kids. That's where those other leagues started. They're just not there now. Colin in Ottawa writes in and he says, somehow Travis Green, the Senators' new head coach, has better odds of winning the Jack Adams than Craig Berube, the new Toronto Maple Leafs head coach. Go figure. Because that's not hard for me. Number one, go back and tell me who's the last Leafs coach, if you don't mind, Colin, to win the Jack Adams, because I don't know who it would be. And maybe, Clark, do you know? The odds makers even know how hard it is to be the head coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs. I'll say it again. If Mike Babcock can't do it, nobody can do it. I'm not willing to die on that hill, but I'm married to the concept. It's going to be nearly impossible. You don't even need to like Mike Babcock. What's up, Clark? Did you look it up? I feel like you were leaning into the microphone. No? If you don't mind looking it up, tell me who's the last Leaf coach to win the Jack Adams as the NHL Coach of the Year. And by the way, the last Leafs coach to win the Stanley Cup was Punch Imlach, was it not? The guy wore a fedora. No, it doesn't surprise me at all that Travis Green had, because for a lot of factors. Did you find it already? Who is it? 93, Pat Burns. There you go. And they didn't even make it to the Stanley Cup final. Ran up against Wayne Gretzky and the Los Angeles Kings, and my God, I don't want to go down that road today.
Oh, no.
BW in Edmonton writes in and he says, July is a great time of year for pictures in canola fields. Are you talking about me? Because I went into a canola field on Saturday. But one thing I've realized here, with all the rain we've had, and now all the sun this week, those canola fields are going to be even brighter. And as I was driving around with my guy Joe, I said, I still don't really understand it, the rain versus sun quotient. I was in 4-H grain club. I took those ag classes. I just don't know. I wasn't paying attention. It doesn't come naturally to me. Randy in Winnipeg says they're expecting 90,000 for tonight's game in New Jersey. He's talking about Argentina versus Canada. I think the point here is that watch whatever the heck you want. And then we'll come back here and talk about it the next day. I enjoyed a lot going to the rodeo in Calgary at GMC Stadium. I've seen people saying GMC Stadium is a better stadium than McMahon. It is. And they got a stadium problem in Calgary, and that's not something that we're going to sit here and talk about today. I enjoy the rodeo. I'm going to enjoy the soccer. And the thing is, my sponsor, Bob, who I'm going to be with tonight, his niece played on the national women's soccer team, and she plays in the ML or whatever the women's league is. She plays in it. So, you kind of need a salesman for the league. And all the coverage and everything's got me sold on soccer tonight. On our discussion, Jeremy from Winnipeg writes that he says the Leafs are top-heavy and soft. As much as Berube is a hard ass and gets the most out of his players, and Nylander, Matthews, Marner are going to play a 200-foot game, I doubt it. We're already writing him off. He hasn't coached the game yet. And by the way, I agree. We'll be right back. On the way later this hour, Greg Morrison of the Medicine Hat Mavericks. It is the RP Show live on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The 80s Club, live in Moose Jaw. Honeymoon Suite, along with a flock of seagulls. Men without hats. And spoons. All together for one night at Moose Jaw Event Center, Saturday, November 16th. Tickets on sale now at sastih.ca or the Moose Jaw Event Center box office.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Send us your opinions now. We won't victimize you unless you really deserve it. Now, back to your host, Rod Pedersen.
Welcome back, everybody. This is, I would think, your kind of day. Wherever you're watching live on Game Plus Television, if you're on the radio, listening down there in Atlanta, WQEE, I appreciate you tuning in for Canada's daytime sports talk show here. And, of course, streaming Apple Podcasts, YouTube Live, and Spotify. I'm going to tell you, here's a great story. Well, number one, I should mention the sponsors. We're brought to you in part by the Saskatchewan Rattlers professional basketball team. They're now battling for their playoff lives, and you can be there in SaskTel Center on Thursday night when they welcome the Winnipeg Sea Bears. It's what they would like to be, the top rivalry in the Canadian Elite Basketball League, but they can't do that without you, the fans. 7:30 tip-off at SaskTel Center. Tonight, Calgary Surge are at Edmonton. It's on TSN. And Niagara is at Scarborough. That one is on CEBL+. So we're brought to you in part by the Canadian Elite Basketball League. They rock. That's one. Two, I've been hanging around a lot of hockey people in my time, plus baseball people. And I was talking to a former NHL coach a while back, and I said to him, did you ever not want to do it? And did you get to a place in your life where you didn't want to do it anymore? And for me, it was what I do. And I knew in his case, it was coaching. And he goes, yep. But he said, this is when I was still in Florida a couple months ago. And he goes, something will come along, though, that'll rekindle your love for it, the play-by-play. And I'm like, oh, I look forward to that. And we talked about a lot of other things. And then we hung up and went about our way. And it was like a week later, this opportunity came up with the Moose Jaw Miller Express of the Western Canadian Baseball League. Because I was coming to Canada in the summer no matter what. I had to get out of that Florida heat. And was coming to Moose Jaw. And know the guy that runs the Millers. He says, we're looking for a broadcaster. Would you be interested in doing it? I'm like, well, I've never done baseball before, but what the hell? And it's been one of the greatest experiences of my life. And you know why? the players, number one, they work out here every morning at the Golden Ticket Sports Center. I was just talking to Austin Gurney. He's from Campbell River, BC. We talk every morning. And he was just named an all-star. He leads the team in home runs. He just rattled off all the all-stars. I guess the league hasn't announced them yet, because I'm sitting here trying to figure out who it's going to be. And now the families are coming up from the States, and I'm getting to meet them, and we're, exchanging contact info and taking photos together. It's the way it's supposed to be. Fun. Not being told what to say and not, I won't get into what's not fun about it, but that coach was right, is my point. And then, furthermore to our fun talk about the highest pressure coaching job in the National Hockey League was with another coach the other day that was an assistant coach for Babcock. And he goes, yeah, we don't talk anymore, me and Babs. And it's sad. It's really sad. That's the other thing about sports. It ruins friendships. And a lot of times, for a lot of cases, forever. All because of sport. And that's sad, too. I don't want that to happen again either. But those are the conversations that I'm having. Regarding tonight, Canada versus Argentina, Darren writes in. He's in Melfort, where they do the Melfort Shuffle. He writes in and he says, morning, probably won't catch the soccer tonight, but we'll keep an eye on it, and we'll watch the struggling Blue Jays a little. They face Chapman since he left Jays land for the first time. Let's talk about Matt Chapman, the third baseman. He says, but I'm into the Rangeland Derby every night. Have a great day. Thank you, Darren. Well, that's the other thing. I really, really, really enjoyed my time in Calgary, but instead of sitting here whining about that, I'm not back in Calgary this summer. This was where I was supposed to be and meant to be, and the Calgary experience was what it was. I loved it. Got to be around Les McIntyre, the voice of the Chuck Wagons, all of that cool cowboy stuff. Kind of tried it on for size, but I'm like, you know what? I knew when I was a teenager I didn't want to be a cowboy. God knows I had the chance. My brother and my dad bought me a horse, too. I was thinking about this the other day. Its name was Spook. The horse's name was Spook. Which, if you know anything about horses, is probably not a great nickname for a horse. But I just wasn't that interested. And I liked a hot shower. You know what I mean? Cowboy life, not for me. And the thing is, all those guys in Calgary that dress up like a cowboy for a week, that's cool, but that's not really me. Jeremy writes in from Winnipeg and says, fun. That's what makes it all worth it. That's why I got into it. If it's not fun, don't do it. I was watching the CFL game the other night where they were talking about Mark Mueller, the offensive coordinator of the Rough Riders. I can't remember who was doing. It wasn't Suter. I feel like it wasn't Dunnigan. Whoever it was, they were talking about Ron Lancaster, the greatest Rough Rider of them all, and the grandfather of the current Saskatchewan offensive coordinator. And Ronnie Lancaster told Mark, his grandson, when this business stops being fun, don't do it anymore. This here is fun. But the play-by-play wasn't, because I'd had some bad experiences. But once I kind of got out around the continent and talked to other teams and other broadcasters, it's like, oh, we've never had those experiences. I realized not everywhere is like back to all this. B. Henderson in Winnipeg writes in and says, I'm with you, Rod. I would trade heat and hurricanes for mosquitoes and hosers any day. With the people that I cavort with, a lot of them have come from the north. And when I say north, I mean northern United States. We've all thought about it and said, we'll take the heat over the winter or over the cold. But they both suck. And my thing is, if I can get away in the summer, I'm going to do it for as long as I can. BW in Edmonton says, did Pat Burns get into the Hockey Hall of Fame? I feel like he did. Do you know, Clark? I can go to the big board. I can look it up myself. It says on Wikipedia very handily right at the bottom of your bio. Although it's not very handily on... Oh, he was posthumously inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame in 2014. How about that? Who needs Google when you got me, BW in Edmonton? Yeah, he did. Scott White, I can only assume, is in Winnipeg. He writes in and says, Paul Maurice got out of Winnipeg for a cushy job in Florida and got himself a cup. I'm just wondering, are you saying that in any way inferring that are you saying that negatively? Because Do you understand the amount of balls that it took Paul Maurice to leave Winnipeg? I don't think you understand. I'm sure it killed him, tore him up. And I talked to so many people around that Winnipeg Jets scene, currently with them, formerly with them, media in the market, a lot. And it's just, I know that it's a touchy situation. And I also know that I need to let this go because not everybody's going to be... Even if you watched every day, and we talked about this every day, some people still aren't going to get it. There's a difference between quitting and walking away. Quitters quit. People that walk away go, this isn't working, so I'm going to remove myself. Good luck. Paul Maurice put it all on him. And I'm sure you know how intelligent he is. He knew how this would be viewed in Winnipeg forever. And he also didn't know that he was going to go to Florida and win a Stanley Cup at the time. Let's also not forget that. Paul Maurice was willing to never coach again if what he says is to be believed, and I believe it is. He was willing to never coach again. Then he got that call from Bill Zito, and the rest is history. And the thing is, and I'm not saying you, Scott, and Winnipeg are pointing the finger at Paul Maurice, but what I am saying is a lot of people are. A lot of people are pointing the finger at Paul Maurice going, well, the quote that was brought up to me was, he left the Jets holding the bag. And they ain't never going to see it any other way. I don't see it that way, but he's a convenient scapegoat for their problem, isn't he? Regarding GMC Stadium in Calgary being a better, that's where they have the Calgary Stampede, being a better stadium than McMahon. And I said, we're not going down that road. Jeff, the Stamps friend, says, then why bring it up? Because it's my show. That's the simple answer to that. We're getting through it, aren't we? Colin in Ottawa says, why are the Calgary Stampeders always away for the Stampede? Why not open the festivities with a great game of Canadian professional football at Old McMahon? Jeff, the Stamps fan, did address that, but I'll address it for what I know. I mean, got a lot of friends that have worked for that Stampeders organization. George Cortez was one. The longtime offensive coordinator who's won, say, 5 Grey Cups with the Stampeders, at least 4. He lives in Houston now, but he's like, you don't want to be around Calgary when the Stampede's on if you're not connected to the Stampede. Do you not, like Colin in Ottawa, you're asking that, you've clearly never been there. When they say it's the greatest outdoor on earth, that ain't just marketing. It's the greatest outdoor show on earth. You don't even want to. No, you would be a flea on the elephant's ass. No. Everything for 2 weeks revolves around that Stampede. It's an industry. You just don't want to be around. You'd be lost. You'd be lost in the shuffle. Am I right, Calgary? Can I get some backup on that? You'd be lost in the shuffle. So you might as well just go away. Paul Maurice. If it ain't working, I'm going to walk away. Yeah, I appreciate calling you delving into federal dollars for stadiums and stuff. I don't feel like going there today. Jeremy in Winnipeg, this is really awesome. He goes, what's the easiest to hardest to broadcast, hockey, football, or baseball? It took me like 2 weeks to figure out how to do baseball. And I think people know I've been married multiple times. I had an opportunity in the 90s to broadcast hockey in the winter and AAA baseball in the summer. And my wife at the time, when I came home with the opportunity, she goes, have fun. It's me or that. And I chose her. In retrospect, But I'm sitting here in the summer of 2024 at the age of 51 going, why did I wait so long to do baseball? And to be honest, I don't have a color guy. It's just me. But there is video streamed live on Home Team. And they're all different. You have to understand they're all different. To be honest, I'll say this. Hockey is the easiest because I grew up, I've talked about this before, playing it, then coaching it, reffing it. It's like breathing to me, hockey. Baseball, also played it, but it ain't that hard. You're sitting there calling balls and strikes and stats. Stats are huge in baseball. I think that's why they became so huge in baseball, was to fill time for the announcers. I'm starting to think that. And I kind of think you have to have had to play the game. Football for me was difficult. Football for me for 20 years as the voice of the Rough Riders was incredibly stressful because I never played it, We didn't have it in our little town growing up. If you don't play it, you don't really know it. So in 1999, and I had been the voice of the Regina Rams in 1991 before that, but I'd never played the game, and I was terrible at that. But in 99, I bought Football for Dummies. I went in and watched film with the coaches, learned the game. I absorbed the league history book, the rule book. I learned it all. It was like going to university for football, to the point that 20 years later, when I left Rough Riders football and went back into doing hockey, the football people said, "Why would you go do hockey? You're a football guy." I guess I fooled them. It was stressful because these fans, to go back to where we started all this, you can't fool them here. I was up at a basketball game in Saskatoon the other night, and a lady said to me, "I remember your first game. You weren't very good." Nope, I wasn't. But by the end, I was pretty damn good. Hey, they don't forget. And they know. Thank God there really was no internet when I started doing this. Oh, my God, I couldn't have taken it. I'd have been cooked. Football was very, very, very stressful to me. Because it's such a big deal here, and I didn't really know what I was doing. And that's why the refs liked me, because I never ripped them, because what am I going to rip the ref for? Hockey, different story. Hope that answers your question. We're going to Medicine Hat next. We're live on the Game Plus television network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Hi, my name is Logan Stankoven. And I'm Connor Bedard. We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors. There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life. Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers, Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Oh, yeah, he's back. Time for more of the Rod Pedersen Show.
The RP Show, as you know, is brought to you by Common Crown Brewing Company out of Calgary, Alberta, turning your everyday common beer into a unique and exceptional experience. Find out what they're all about at commoncrown.ca. Weekly, we do the WCBL Roundup. Can we please bring in Greg Morrison on the screen, everybody, the owner of the Medicine Hat Mavericks? Greg, listen, I couldn't wait to talk to you. I'm reading your bio here. Retired in 06 from 12 seasons as a professional baseball player. He's played in both the Dodgers and Blue Jays organizations. He is the owner of Morrison Health, Injury and Sport Therapy, which operates in Medicine Hat, Alberta, the 2013 WMBL Executive of the Year. Can I just say congratulations on all you've done so far, my guy? You're my kind of guy, man. That's quite a story. And you're still going.
Still going, Rod. Yeah, I'm very blessed to be on the field with these young college players, and we work even all the way down to 8, 9, 10-year-olds in Medicine Hat. So just trying to give back of what I've been given as a young ball player.
Well, you know, then we could get into your mentors, because I'd love to hear about it, but giving back is what it's all about. And I'm sitting out here in Moose Jaw, the voice of the Millers, and having just the best time, which they're all buzzing today about the All-Star nods and nominations, which I guess isn't going to be announced till Thursday. But what do you, number one, why did you want to own a baseball, collegiate baseball team like this, and the WMBL at the time, and now the WCBL?
Just kind of stepped into it. I retired in 06 and moved home in 07. And I went to this game, and it was these Mavericks guys. All I knew was the Blue Jays. I was a Blue Jay. I played for the Medicine Hat Blue Jays. The Jays left Medicine Hat in 2002. And here's this summer college. It wasn't even really a summer college league back then. There was like full-time teachers playing, borderline men's league kind of stuff. But it was good baseball. And I just wanted to keep coaching, and that's where it began. And by the end of that winter, I owned the baseball team. So I call it my passion, and sometimes I call it my penance, owning this team. But it's been a blast. It's been 15, 16 years. It's a real ma and pa organization. In-laws, my wife. It's just everybody helping out. Amazing volunteerism. So for me, it was selfishly wanting to be around the game still.
The league is so awesome. And just so you know, I spent 20 years in the Western Hockey League with the Regina Pats. We used to roll up by that stadium in Medicine Hat because it's next to the arena, and just look at the names. Oh, Dunedin Hill, Dave, Steve, Lloyd Mosby, like everybody outside. So I'm sure those names aren't still there, but that's a pretty cool atmosphere you guys got in Medicine Hat.
Yeah, very historical. I was built in 78, so we're going on 50 some years. And I remember the mayor told me he's passed away, and he said, you know what, it was $1 million to build this thing in 1978, and it was a huge investment for the city of Medicine Hat to get pro baseball, and to have those Blue Jays coming through, and all those names. I think Jimmy Key even played here, and just guys like that, Pat Borders, big name guys. And it put us on the map. And I'd go down to spring training, and these guys were like, Medicine Hat, I played in Medicine Hat. Great city, and all those Nats, right? It's funny what they bring up when you're down there in Florida talking to those guys about Medicine Hat. But, we've really tried to continue on being a top level of baseball here. And I think the prior ownership had a lot of vision. They knew that if the Jays left and there was nothing to replace that, baseball didn't have a great chance of growing and hanging around in Medicine Hat. So I tip my hat to that initial ownership group. There was about 4 or 5 guys that said, hey, let's keep this thing going here. Let's get something, even if it's not pro, it's for amateur college guys.
I'm with you on all of that. It's just the league is so great. The history's unbelievable, and the personalities continue to be great. I just love the kids. And the one thing, Greg, would you agree, just talking with league people? Oh, and by the way, Jimmy Key going into the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame. Well, he did in June, along with Moose Jaw's Rod Heisler. Baseball's so cool. The league's been great for a long time, and it's like you guys just now want to get up and really tell everybody. It's like it was like the best kept secret on the prairies for too long.
Yeah, and I think first you want to, like anything, you want to make sure your product is great before you start marketing it. And we've known for years that we want to get the word out. And there's a lot of summer college leagues out there. There's a couple that are kind of Canadian or a little bit of Canada, U.S. I'm biased, obviously, but I feel we're one of the best leagues out there of all the summer collegiate leagues. So, our league is, we have our meetings and we have marketing, and we are trying to get the word out. Get these young guys from the States, whether they're from the States or from Medicine Hat, that this is one of the top summer collegiate leagues you can play in.
There's no doubt about that. And so I'm wondering what you know about this. I don't want to put you on the spot, but Jamie Campbell is doing an Alberta tour. We all know him as the host of Blue Jays Connected on Sportsnet. So he's going through Alberta. He's going to be in Medicine Hat tonight. And by the way, Jamie's a good friend of mine from back in the CFL days. He used to call CFL games on Sportsnet. How did this come about? And he's going to be in Medicine Hat tonight. You guys are home to Swift Current. What's the deal? What's going to go on?
Yeah, so he just, middle of the Jays season, wanted to take a bit of a week off, I guess you could call it, and maybe this has been on his list to come out and watch some Western Canadian baseball. So, he gave us a nice shout out. I think the Miller's hat was there, and Okotoks and Medicine Hat on one of the seventh inning segments that he did during the Jays game, which was amazing exposure for our league and our teams. And he reached out to us directly and said, "Hey, I'm coming through with my son." And, we were just delighted to know that he's coming out. So he will be hitting us here tonight, coming in on WestJet. And, we're just going to show him some good Med Hat hospitality.
How's the forecast looking?
It is going to be scorching all week. So, we've been promising our U.S. players that it's as hot as California here in the summer. And you guys got a lot of that wet weather too in June. We did as well out here. But we're in the 30s. It was mid-20s at 9 in the morning. So it's going to be feels like 30, 32 at game time. So I love it. I'm a baseball guy. I used to love playing in Florida. It's going to be hot all week. So lots of water and probably a few beers will be drunk at the games this week.
This is exactly what you want, everybody. So games tonight in Weyburn, Medicine Hat, Brooks, Fort McMurray, and Lethbridge. But Jamie Campbell will be at this one in Medicine Hat. Follow Jamie on his social media channels like I do. That's where I found out that he was going out to Alberta. I'm like, what is up with this? What, Greg, would you like people to know before I let you go here in this interview? Because you're a busy guy. What did you want to get across here today?
Well, I think the big thing is from a player perspective is we are one of the top leagues out there. We're getting a lot of return players. We're getting a lot of Division I guys returning to our team and to our league. So, fans want to know if they want to watch, the next potential future professional baseball player, they can come and watch us, and they're going to see some of those guys as amateurs working hard and putting the time in. From a fan and family perspective, come on down. You're going to get 2.5, 3 hours of good, clean entertainment and watching guys out there hustling. So, from my end of it, I'm just blessed to be out there with these guys. I think in Medicine Hat specifically, we have a great community of support. And I think we're seeing that all across the league, which is really exciting times for the WCBL.
Oh, yeah, attendance is way up. It's booming, and we're just getting into the best part of the season now and the best weather. Well, Greg, I want to say congratulations on all you've accomplished in your life. Very impressive. Thanks for all you do, and I really hope to meet you at the All-Star Game festivities in Okotoks a couple of weekends from now.
It's likewise, Rod. Take care of yourself, okay?
Thank you. You too. Greg Morrison of the Medicine Hat Mavericks, and they are home tonight to the Swift Current 57s. It's just the best league. 30,000 attracted over Canada Day to WCBL ballparks. I'm not sure why people are just getting tuned into it now because we've known it's been a good league for a long time. But there you go. We'll be right back with Overtime. One final sports update, and then we'll put a bow on all of our topics today with your participation. We are live on the Game Plus television network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at iksgameday.com.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Hi, my name is Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
You got something to say? You want to add to the show? What are you waiting for? Don't just sit there. Say something. Now, back to the studio with Rod.
Overtime is brought to you by our good friends at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. Hey, if you're in town for the Calgary Stampede, check out Overtime Hockey Lanes. I don't know the hours, but look it up. It's on your map, 28th Street Northeast. Tell Randy and Michelle Rod sent you, and I'll tell you what, you'll get lost for a day like I did. It's just good, clean fun. Licensed bar and restaurant there. Overtime Hockey Lanes, just a snapshot away from the old Crossroads Flea Market. That'll tell you where it is. Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. I'll get to the sports update in a moment. Tony from... his handle on YouTube is Tony from George Fox Country, which is Cochrane. He says, tune in to Sportsnet 1 right after the RP show to watch the Calgary Stampede. Is that live? Right. Well, just imagine rodeo all day, every day. It was, to me, it was just too much. I'll be honest. It's a lot. Greg, where is he? On the Sober Carpenter text line, 902-518-3033. He writes in, he says, I'm with you, Rod. I am not a 10-day drugstore cowboy. I think you folks have been watching this show long enough now. This is episode number 1,282. I'm as real as a heart attack. I don't go in for fake. So I'm roaming around the Calgary Stampede. And listen, I worn Wranglers in my day and brush popper shirts. I've owned them. But I ain't no cowboy. And I'm looking around, and there's millions of people dressed like cowboys here. You're not all real cowboys, but you look like real cowboys, thanks to Lamley's. And I'm like, this isn't good. What if there's an emergency? What if there's a damsel in distress? We need a real cowboy, not these imposters. And I can say that because my brother is a real cowboy. Here's a funny story. We're going down to Las Vegas. Interesting story. Just before COVID. 2019? I don't know. It's all a blur. So my friends with the Vegas Golden Knights called me up and said, pick a couple games and we'd like you to come down and we'll host you at our team hotel. Pick some games, we'll give you tickets. And I was telling my brother that, and he goes, I'll go with you. And I said, I didn't invite you. Ended up that he came with me. So he says to me, I need to borrow some of your clothes. I said, for what? He goes, I can't wear my cowboy clothes down there. I said, yes, wear you. Just wear your stuff. Don't matter. It's Vegas, man. Anything goes. And we go down there, and we're hanging out with the team at the practice facility. And here's my brother with his big old belt buckle, right, and his jeans, Wranglers. And the Golden Knights were like, that's a real cowboy. I'm like, what about it? They still exist. Yeah, they do. But unfortunately, there are millions of them roaming around Calgary right now, and you just don't know which one's a real one. So when I talk to my friends in Florida, they ask me about my family. I say, well, my brother Lee, he's, you ever watch Yellowstone? Yeah. He's John Dutton. Ah, okay. Before I dip back into the comments, Underdog Canada gets a second crack at top-ranked Argentina in the Copa America semifinal tonight in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Seeking a record 16th title, Argentina beat surprising Canada 2-0 in last month's tournament opener. Canada has not lost since, though, reaching the semifinal by defeating Venezuela 4-3 on penalties Friday. It's 6 p.m. Eastern tonight. I don't even know what channel it's on. Do you know what channel it's on, Clark? I tried to look it up on the Score app, and it didn't say. Do you know? He doesn't know either. But we'll find it. The Toronto Blue Jays open a 3. Are you going to be watching it, Clark? He's got baseball tonight, so he can't. He's got baseball. The Toronto Blue Jays open a 3-game interleague series with the Giants in San Francisco tonight. The Jays took 2 of 3 from the Mariners over the weekend and are now 8.5 back of the American League wildcard spot. Yusei Kikuchi starts on the mound for Toronto against San Fran's Blake Snell. Elsewhere, the Philadelphia Phillies host the Dodgers in a showdown of the NL's 2 best teams. Zach Wheeler goes for the Phillies against LA's Bobby Miller. Meanwhile, the American League-topping Baltimore Orioles host the lowly Chicago Cubs, who sit last in the NL Central. Sports update is for Landmark Cinemas. Mondays are Seniors Day at Landmark Cinemas. Get more of the movies you love every Monday for less. Seniors enjoy 20% off the posted seniors admission price. And to sweeten the deal, receive 20% off their concession purchase, too. So make Mondays your movie day, because a great deal never gets old. Check your favorite Landmark Cinemas for showtimes and pricing. We're also brought to you by EMJ Marketing. Connect with thought leaders and industry experts through EMJ Marketing's Speaker Bureau, emjmarketing.com. They are the agency which represents me in all my business interests and public speaking, too. Swift Current, July 12th. Okotoks, July 20th. Saskatoon, August 30th. Regina, August 31st. Wolseley, October 19th. Don't miss out. Contact emjmarketing.com today. And also brought to you by the Saskatchewan Rattlers professional basketball team. They are home Thursday night to the Winnipeg Sea Bears. SaskTel Center is the place to be. The best bang for your buck, Saskatchewan sporting dollar. Go to Ticketmaster.ca for your tickets. Okay, so we did all that. Oh, thank you, BW. He says, overtime hockey lanes closed Monday as per website. Allie in Texarkana says he could show them his ranch. Yeah. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, are you saying us rhinestone 10 days per year cowboys are not real men? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Allie says, I haven't got to participate much today because of work, but I've been listening. Great show as always. I hope y'all have a terrific day, everyone. Same to you, Allie. We appreciate your sunny disposition. Jeff the Stamps fan goes on to say, it's bloody hot in YYC. Living here, minus 30 is way better because you can escape it indoors. Unless you have air conditioning, which not many Calgarians do, there's no escaping it here. Well, there's ways to do it. Go buy a fan. Because listen, this is the way we live in South Florida. Go hang out in a Starbucks. The AC pumps. Go to the mall. Hang out in the food court. Be a mall rat for a while. I mean, I get it. At night, it really does suck. But get a fan. You'll survive. Kirk in Toronto writes it. Well, hey, listen, I got a lot of friends in Alberta. Well, even here in Sask that they love the climate, but it's just too. I don't. How about that? Summer, I do. Kirk in Toronto says, hi, Rod. Nice to hear you're a fan of the colors of the double blue and the famed boat logo from a guy from Saskatchewan. Cheers. Because I like the Riders' throwback uniforms worn last Thursday. I really love the Argos, and that's the colors, and that goes back to the early 80s. Conreg Holloway, really enjoyed. That was my second. John Congemi comes to mind. Conreg Holloway and those Argos teams of the 80s, just because of the color of their uniforms. You always got to have a reason why you love a team. For me, that was mine. John in Winnipeg, stay cool, brother. I know you always will. We'll do it all again tomorrow here at noon Eastern. Same station, same show, same place.
Who has more fun than us?
How about that? Right on. Awesome.